What up, Kev?
I just experienced just a slight nervous breakdown there, man, because you started counting down, and I blanked out. I forgot what I was supposed to do for the 5 and the 4. I was scrambling for an answer.
But then
just wanted to be transparent with the audience.
Per usual, Kev recovers quite nicely. No harm, no foul. Y'all saw nothing.
Hey, pick it up,
nothing.
pick it up.
Yo, what's good, man? What's good? How's your week been so far, man?
Good, man. Finally got some sleep this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? How did you manage that?
Well, this is what's going on here. So I have this. I don't want to call it a smartwatch because it's not that smart.
Smart ass watch.
It is. It's kind of, and it's supposed to tell me. It gives me the sleep score, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And I just realized I think it might just be messing with me.
Okay.
Like just randomly throwing out, just like we're going to give him a little, he had a tough couple days. Let's throw him up into the 80s or God forbid the 90s and make him feel really good for the first 30 minutes of his morning until he realizes he didn't actually sleep that well.
Wow. Yo, if your watch is doing that, that is so cold-blooded.
It's man. It's the first step on the path toward the singularity.
I have one of those too, man, but I cannot sleep with a watch on. I can't sleep with rings.
You know what? That's exactly what I thought, but guess what? I got used to it. But
Did you really?
I did. I got used to it. I hated the idea of doing that, but then I was like, well, what's the point if this is one of the sort of key functions? Also, you know what? It strikes me that because I understand the fear of artificial intelligence and sort of the cyber world taking over. But this is the thing. We are not that bright as a species. We really aren't.
Fair.
Like we can spend all day talking about how much smarter we are than earthworms or whatever the case may be. But have you seen what computers were able to do 50 years ago?
Right. Yeah.
It's so, if Moore's law still applies, the AI takeover is not like, 5 years away. It's here.
It's happened already.
It's already happened.
Sure.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Sleep is a cornerstone of good health. And my watch, it's not even the main gadget in my life, right? It's like my side piece. My phone is my lady. My watch is my side, and my side piece has me all twisted up, man. That's not cool. You know why? Because I'm not bright. I said it. I made fun of the watch. It's not a smart watch. I'm not a smart dude.
Well,
why do I deserve a smart watch?
I would disagree there, but I will say that to make something comedic a little more serious than necessary, I do think that we're already in a place that many people fear we're getting to. Like we've been there.
You think so?
You know what I mean?
So let's see.
I mean, come on. Think about it. Money is just numbers. Like, do we want to turn this show into the back of the hip hop club conspiracy theory hour? Look, it's just no. You don't have any of the money that you say you have. Everything is numbers, and at this point, you're already living it, dude.
So I'm just gonna run things back. Sort of previously on Rap Sex
and the
Radio.
money is a numbers thing is just one example. I have plenty of others, but go ahead.
So today, money is a lie. That's what you're saying. Last week, you said that hip hop's dead. And then I think the week before that was when you said that the earth is flat, right?
I did not say the earth is flat. And last week was not when I said hip hop is dead. It was like months ago. And I was like 3 to 5 years too late when I said it back then. You know what, man? I'm not even good. All right. Let me get to the opening question because I thought this was okay. As I told you last week, I recently went to a show, an alternative music show.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of the songs or whatever, but I to kind of preface this question, I don't go to concerts, and I haven't. The last concert I went to before the one I took my daughter to recently, actual concert, not like show or whatever, like full on concert, was like the Jackson 5 tour with my mom when I was like 9.
Wait, how can you? So you don't count any of the shows we went to or anything like that? Then
shows.
You're talking about concert.
I'm talking about concerts with pyrotechnics and stuff. I
didn't know
things.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I had resigned to not going to concerts when I started rapping because I just could not get over the jealousy of not being up on stage. Right?
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a thing I'm totally willing to admit. I've done my own personal therapy. However, after taking my daughter to this concert, I was like, man, I missed out. These are so fun because I don't care about rapping anymore. I don't care to rap. It's over now. So now I can actually just sit there and enjoy it. Mike Shinoda came out. I was like, yo, that's dope. Like, right? And it got me to thinking, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back in time and see any concert, what concert would it be?
It wouldn't be a concert. It would probably be. I have a few answers. I'm gonna cheat.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a few answers.
I'm down for a few answers.
Answer number 1 on the list is probably 1986. Was it Fresh Fest or Raising Hell tour at the Long Beach Arena?
Oh, yeah.
Just with all the phone books. That's back when we still had phone books, so I would just have to make sure that those were securely taped around my entire torso.
Okay.
But I can go back a few more years, which I didn't miss out on it because I don't think I would have been able to go. And it wouldn't have been the whole concert because that would have been gross. But just Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, I think would have been worthwhile thing to see.
Word up.
Let's see what else. Purple Rain tour.
Oh, that sounds fresh.
And the one band that I really wish I would have seen the original lineup would have been Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Banging. All banging.
How about you?
Definitely could add all of those to my list. However, there's only one answer that came to mind after seeing all the pyrotechnics and all of the fanfare.
Limp Bizkit, right?
Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh, yo, the crazy thing. Well, that's another one of those, like the preface I put on the Earth, Wind, and Fire, because I've seen iterations of. It's more of like a George Clinton show than anything else. But God, I wish I could remember the first time I saw him. It was a good show. It was a really good show. And he'll get up there and he'll perform for as long until they kick him off the stage, right? It's I saw him at Bren Center at UCI play for like 3.5 hours. And by when we walked in, it's a big arena. I mean, big stadium, right? And it was pretty full when we walked in there. When he was done, there was not a lot of people in there. Everybody
got tired of it. Yeah, I'm like to see the like Mothership.
Yeah.
Just
the original,
just the whole that had to be crazy. Now that I think
I'm thinking of more Sly and the Family Stone.
Sly and the Family Stone or Curtis Mayfield is another one that came to mind for me.
Oh, Wattstax. That's your answer.
Wattstax, the whole event. Yeah. Well, yeah, the documentary on that when I watched that years ago was hella inspiring. But speaking specifically to the Parliament Funkadelic thing and why it's hitting me is, so I know that there are exceptions, right? But a rap concert and a rap show don't stray that far away from each other. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I know there are exceptions. I understand that. I know, Dre and Snoop bringing out the Lolo onto the stage and the different elements of artistry that go into a concert. This is something I've in 47 years never thought about until I actually watched this till I went to this last. So to see that some bands had some things other bands didn't, but to see the imagery that goes along with the performance was what made it different to me. Like, oh, okay, that's the difference. If I'm thinking if Trek Life ever had a concert, it'd be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do the same thing I do on this little stage with some, instead with a larger audience. But apparently and clearly that's not the key. And forgive me, y'all, if I sound like a 12-year-old, but honestly, I'd never thought about this before in my entire life. So thinking of the actual performance that Parliament must have put on, I mean, that what people say and all of the visual aspects that you got from that show, including the Purple Rain show, including when I was 9 or 10 when we went to the Jackson 5 joint, there was a lot of actual stuff. I think like they did this like fake thing where Michael Jackson got like kidnapped on stage or something. It was like a weird thing. I don't know. I mildly remember it, but it's like, where did Mike go? Oh, he's over there. Oh, he's coming down from the ceiling or whatever, right? So that was it. That was at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that's dope.
I remember that. We were on the lawn. So all that being said, I might check out a few more. And they probably won't all be like rap or whatever, but I might actually be down and like check out a few more concerts.
And I didn't even think about it when you were talking about the show. Did they have like, the big screens and all that stuff up on stage? Mm-hmm. And okay. Cause that's the kind of thing that, yeah, man, like honestly, another answer I just thought of that, like you would have to really, I would not go to any of this dude's shows anymore, even though I'd imagine they might not be bad. But that Glow in the Dark tour looked so dope on because that was to me, like sort of, he set the bar for all that, the staging and that being a little bit more interesting. And, and I think from what I could tell on watching like on YouTube and stuff, like the stage was like a screen too, like pretty dope, He hit everybody else. Like I think 8-Track was probably, off of the balcony somewhere, hidden behind a curtain or something. But yeah, man, that like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That would be cool. I mean, I've been to lately, a couple shows at like Ford Theater, grown up stuff, like Hollywood Bowl. We saw Lauren there recently, and she was on time, so I'm not even sure if that was actually her. But but I've seen some dope shows though. I've seen.
Oh my God!
One of my favorite things I've ever gone to was Sade at the Greek Theater, and wifey's going to get tired of me telling her that that's the one show I want to see again before one of us is gone.
I mean, I'm gonna come and cheat entirely. Like the Roots show.
Oh yeah.
The first time I saw them at House of Blues was like, but I was telling my daughter this morning, KRS-ONE, man. Seeing KRS-ONE perform, I've seen him at, a show, 300, 400 people. Mm-hmm. I saw him on the lawn at Cal Poly. I saw him at Bridges, which I don't care what any of y'all say. Bridges was his best the best performance I've ever seen was at the club I emceed at the World Famous Club Bridges. I'll tell you the story in a minute. And then I saw him at like an open mic, and every single time, hands down, the best performer I had ever seen.
Wow.
It's him and Black Thought alike.
Yeah. And
I'll throw somebody else out there that people aren't going to be, people are going to be like, what? But Aloe Black is crazy on stage too. But before we jump into the segment, I don't think we knew each other entirely yet. No, we did, but I don't think he went to Bridges this night. Confident was performing.
Oh, okay.
Remember Con was performing. He brought out Buckshot Shorty. Buckshot Shorty came to the show. And with Buckshot Shorty, or within the same vicinity, KRS-ONE came out, right?
Okay.
KRS-ONE came to the show. Now, he came up, we were like, oh, snap, it's KRS-ONE. He said, what's up to Mark Love, introduced himself. And Blue was like, yo, rock something real quick. And KRS was like, nah, let's go backstage and talk about money. And Blue was like, Blue sweet talked him into just doing it.
Nice. How is Blue, by the way?
Apparently he's doing well. I got to check in on him, but I believe he's doing well. So check it out. If you remember the Bridges stage, the subwoofers were part of the stage, right?
What was the spot? What was the venue?
That was Zen Sushi.
Okay, yes.
Zen Sushi, the upstairs, right? Where the two speakers were in the front and in the stage. So when you performed, you pretty much just walked up on the subwoofers, right? Well, there was a gap in between the speakers.
Uh-oh.
So Chris comes out, hype, running from behind the DJ booth, steps into the gap, and falls straight forward into the crowd, right?
Oh, my God.
I'm like, oh, no. Like, it's all in slow motion, like some, like, bounty commercial, right? And, bro, they catch this dude.
Wow.
Lift him back up on stage. I swear to God, no exaggeration. Like, the crowd catches him, lifts him back up on stage, like kind of like in a Smooth Criminal, like how Mike like leaned forward, got caught in it, right? It looked dead like that, but with hands. And they lifted him back up on stage, and he didn't miss a beat.
That's dope.
He rapped through the whole thing, Kev.
That's
I'm like, if he fell on his face, would he have kept going? Because there's no way he could have expected them to catch him.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's
didn't
crazy.
Miss a beat. Kept the whole. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, Chris is unreal.
Insane.
We forgot about Wu-Tang Clan too, but I've seen.
Well,
but Chris, yeah. So he can, and he's good at rocking. Like like I think part of what you're pointing out is that he can rock 10 people the same way that he rocks 100,000. Right?
Anything, yes.
So yeah. I've seen him in big crowds. I also shortly after I moved to New York. And I had worked for him for a couple years, not too long before I moved, right? So we were in touch, and he rocked a show at this spot in Brooklyn called Southpaw, I want to say, which I'm imagining is not still open, but a relatively small, sort of a dope, grimy little spot. Kind of like Viper Room maybe or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, it was, I got there, it was hella snowing. I finally got in there nice and warm. It's not too crazy. Get up to the front of the stage. So what's up? Small stage. And he's just got a stool on stage, like a bar stool. I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting. And I look and there's a turntable on the bar stool, right? I was like, all right. So he rocks, and midway through the show, Grand Wizard Theodore comes out and starts doing needle drops on that turntable that's on the bar stool. I was like, oh my God. And this is before I knew Theodore. So it was like, wow, real dope. So was that Jackson 5 show the first show you ever went to? The first concert?
First and only for years.
Was that the Victory Tour?
Victory Tour, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Victory Tour.
The funny thing is, I think that's Wifey's big concert memory as well.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
Chicago somewhere.
Yeah, the Victory Tour with my mom, and I want to say, I know. Shirley Huffman, rest in peace. Friend of my friend of the family. Believe that's who we went with. But yeah, it was I mean, I don't think I was old enough to appreciate it as much as I would have, if I was just a couple of years older. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I never went to. Yeah. The first concert I went to was with a few buddies. It was supposed to be Confunction. All right.
Oh man,
this is
you put a date on that milk carton right there, boy.
Man, that date is in Roman numerals, my man. That milk is not pasteurized. And this was at the Great Western Forum.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was it was supposed to be Confunction. They got sick or something like that, so they didn't show up. Then it was Bobby Brown opening for New Edition, I think, and Kool and the Gang.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, but probably the most memorable young concert going experience I had was one night at Disneyland right here in Anaheim, California.
Mm-hmm.
There was music on multiple stages around the park, and I don't know if they still do this, because I would imagine it's like a very difficult thing to man. Like, I don't know. Thinking back, I don't know who decided to do this, and I'm sure whoever it was really pissed off every security person in the park, because it was bananas. Like, Tomorrowland, the stage that like comes up out of the, I don't know if it's still there, but remember that stage that used to come up out of the,
yep.
Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick.
Nah.
I think with Chill Will and Barry B, both on stage.
Wow. Okay.
There was another stage.
This wasn't like a grad night performance or something like that, right?
I don't know. We weren't there for grad night, but it could have been, I guess. But it was like, in one of the other smaller venues do you remember the Jets?
Mm-hmm.
Them,
yes.
Who I was in love with, the girls in the Jets, of course.
Yeah.
On the like they had a riverboat stage in the middle of the river, like in Frontierland, right?
Yep.
Ready for the World. And then once again, it like whatever the biggest sort of performance area was New Edition. So I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a crazy show.
That's crazy. It was
Disneyland?
Insane. Yeah, at Disneyland.
Can I know we got to get to the other side, but I think the people that listen to this show need to understand something. And I know
that I'm old.
You know. No. Well, this is actually going to make both of us old. Both of us know why hip-hop concerts stopped happening at like Disneyland, Magic Mountain, and Knott's Berry Farm. You don't remember?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's because of the Christian rap.
The famous TLC crisscross riot.
Magic Mountain?
Magic Mountain.
Yes. I mean,
no,
I think that was. I always feel like stuff like that is like the straw that broke the camel's back, though, because they were.
Yeah.
Nobody was trying to do any of that stuff.
Well, no, remember, Magic Mountain had a club.
Okay,
you don't remember that? Yeah, Magic Mountain had a club. Like if you were there, I can't remember what it was called. Suge would remember, but it was a club. You could go, and teenagers, right, would be in there at this club, right, like. So they were playing hip hop music mixed in with whatever little thing was cool and corny at the time, and you was in there with your cross colors and wilding out, right? So I remember because this is okay. You know what? We got to let people know if they're new to the show what they listen to. Let's get to the other side because we halfway into the show.
All right,
and we'll probably get one topic, but I want to finish the story on the other side. Kev, you ready to get to the other side, man?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Rap Sucks Radio. Blah, 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 blah.
What up, y'all? You are live on Rap Sucks Radio with your homeboy Trek Life and your fam, Kev Sakota.
Professionally known as Kev Function.
Hey, that milk carton. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you would like to catch past episodes of our show, you can go to rapsucksradio.com or any of your favorite podcasting platforms. You can also catch us on your television on BTSN Behind the Scenes Network. Download the app or channel on your Roku or Amazon Fire devices. Or you can go to btsn.watch, BTSN Behind the Scenes Network. We want in. And if you want to catch us on social media, it is at Rap Sucks Radio on Instagram, at Rap Sucks Radio on Threads, and RSR Podcast on Facebook. All right. Before we get into the topic, Kev, let me finish the Mount Sac, the Magic Mountain story. All right. So I missed two riots. traveling to see my grandmother up north. All right. So when the 92 riots jumped off, we were going to Oakland the next morning to visit my uncles and my grandmother. During the 92 riots, Taj pulled up to my house, my man Taj, and was like, "We going." And my dad, I could have died right there with the look he gave me. And we were getting ready to leave anyway. So I mean, not that I would have ever been allowed to go, but if we would have just been at a park, I would have been able to been at the riots and gotten in trouble for being there. Now, the next thing is the Magic Mountain, and I should got to remind me of this because it was like I might have been hanging out with Suge. We might have been in Vegas or whatever, but what I remember most about the Magic Mountain riots was that we were dying to go. Me and Suge wanted to go and couldn't go, right? I believe we went to Vegas with my family. I remember coming back to school. Remember those Bugs Bunny, those Looney Tunes, like kind of hip hop shirts that they used with the Looney Tunes characters?
Sure.
I just remember a couple people at my school like selling the ones that they stole from Magic Mountain. Like, so I'm like, damn, this dude is selling the hip hop Bugs Bunny tees. Apparently, if you guys aren't familiar with it, man, they wrecked Magic Mountain because they oversold the place. Like they oversold Magic Mountain. Everybody went to see TLC. They bum rushed the show, bum rushed the gate, started hopping fences. A whole riot took place. They started breaking into the stores. It just went down.
Yeah, I have a vague memory of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was it. No more hip hop shows at any of the amusement parks. At least, I mean, I'm sure they've had something at Knott's Berry Farm because, I mean, where else are you gonna get stabbed? But the thing is, it hasn't been, advertised like it was, back in the day. So, yeah.
Do they still do Halloween, whatever they call it, the Halloween Horror Nights?
Not Scary Farm.
Not Scary Farm. Yeah.
They
still do.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Yeah. I can't believe no one gets even listen to Lil Poke.
Oh my God, somebody gets in a fight every year. I got kicked out of that, by the way. That's a whole other story for another day. All right, check it out. Kev. Let's get into the episode, or at least one full topic. If we had the time to, we'll jump into two. But
hip hop.
Title of this. Yo, episode title. We still taking shots at NWA though? Just saying, right? Topic number one, man. Topic number one. The title is D1 is the new KRS-ONE. Reason is D1 doesn't consider NWA quote unquote legends, and he cites the glorification of violence and the disrespect of women. The source for this, get this source, Kev. Hotnewshiphop.com.
Word.
I went, come on.
We made a mistake, We were just a little bit late because that's the URL we were going after.
Right?
we missed out.
Imagine? You guys could be listening to Hot News Hip Hop right now, and we messed up. And I'm thinking, like, as I'm looking for this, I'm like, all right, well, there's the Wall Street Journal. There's, like New York Times, whatever. And then there's Hot News Hip Hop. And I'm trying to figure out which of these quality sources I wanted to pull this information from. And Hot News Hip Hop stood out. So I went ahead and did that.
Cream rises to the top.
It does. Players involved are D1, of course, and NWA, although they don't seem to actually be involved, right? And I should add Special Ed because sheesh, man. All right. D1 says that NWA and any other Kev artists that have glorified trap music is what he called it, in quotes, should not be considered legends. The Christian rapper explained his reasoning during an interview with The Art of Dialogue. He had been discussing Special Ed's previous comments on Drink Champs, in which the rapper accused NWA of ushering in the age of destruction. These are D1's comments. What do we do with that? Once we acknowledge that you have contributed to the genre your whole career, and if we acknowledge that you contributed a bunch of negativity, a bunch of violence, a bunch of disrespect of women, what do we do? Do we call you a legend? Or is it like, wait, we don't need to call you no legend. I think that calling people legends in hip hop is also a force of what helps to perpetuate negativity, and that is the trick of the enemy. That's the devil's work at its finest. All right, Kev, he wasn't done. He had more to say. He continued. We're going to make it to where y'all start to call people legends and immortalize people inside of hip hop, and the main thing they've contributed is the glorification of violence, the disrespect of women, the glorification of drug dealing and drug use. Like, that's crazy. We need to take the legend status off of a lot of people who we call legends in hip hop, and that's going to hurt their ego, but that's going to help our community. From there on, he didn't stop, Kev. D went on to suggest that, D went on to suggest that any rapper who has glorified drug dealing and drug use can't be considered a legend. All right? Did he stop there, Kev? No. He had a closing statement, which said, so all of the rappers who have glorified trap music is what he's called this, should not be considered legends. I'm going to say it again. He said it again. All the rappers who have glorified trap music should not be considered legends. That's just a fact. He said fact there.
He said fact.
Yeah. So controversial opinions like this have caused Joe Budden and others to label D1 as a quote unquote clout chaser. Yeah. There you go. Kev, take it away.
Well, my first reaction to this was that I was a little bit upset with you for even making me figure out who this guy was.
Okay.
But let's put it in perspective. First of all, didn't we talk about special ed, what special ed said?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, nah.
What?
Ultimately, we were like, nah, settle down.
Yeah. But I'd like to believe, and I might be completely contradicting whatever I said then, but I'd like to think I gave him a little bit of.
Yeah, I mean, we were special ed. We weren't.
Yeah.
You know, like, we didn't smash the dude, but we didn't agree with him either.
Did you watch the video of the interview?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? Because I like to be thorough. I like to keep it thorough.
Throw a TV at you, crazy. All right.
So if the video was longer than 5 minutes, whatever YouTube the clip I saw was longer than 5 minutes, I definitely would not have watched 30 seconds of it. But I turned it on, and I realized why it's a good idea that I did, because just last week I was willing to give Mos Def, Yasin Bey a lot of grace in not just what he said and his opinion, which agree or disagree, but sort of the situation he found himself in during the interview, sure. Unexpectedly, right? This one, to be honest, and I don't know, dude, he seems corny. I don't know any of his music, although I'll get to the fact that I did listen to some of his music. Because also, Trek made a mistake, and Trek picked the topics we were going to discuss more than 10 minutes before we started recording. So I was able to prepare.
I gave you hours. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, you had to.
But I prepared 10 minutes prior to when we started recording.
Well, then I'm never wrong.
But the thing is, he started, because like you said, he was being asked if he agrees or disagrees with what special ed said, right? Which right. I don't know if he was expecting that, but he didn't sound like he was. He kind of got quiet and somewhat thoughtful, much like most did on the interview we talked about last week. Why we talk about other podcasts, by the way? But anyway, but as he kept talking, then he didn't stop, right? And then he got on a roll, and I think that's when he got to the point that you were emphasizing or whatever. Yeah. So, but he's not a young dude. At first I was like, is this dude, 22 or whatever? Like, he just doesn't know. He's not that young either. He said straight out that he wasn't experiencing it firsthand. So,
sure.
But also didn't necessarily out of hand disagree with everything he said. As a guy who is now, I'm in my early 50s, right?
Okay.
And I did experience all that stuff. There was a lot of other things he talked about, either in the interview or in the couple songs that I listened to. He is I just don't think he's a great MC.
That's interesting. A lot of people say he's pretty dope.
He's not bad.
He's okay.
There's a lot of Christian rap that's terrible. I happen to know, we happen to know some of the better Christian rappers probably in the world.
Yeah. Big shout out to man. Big shout out to Propaganda and outside of Christian rap. Big shout out to Silo. We've had plenty of Christian rap conversations.
So our view is probably skewed in a different direction than most people. But I just, he's not whack. Yeah, I just didn't find him super compelling as his delivery and his lyricism. Sure. That's just my opinion. But, he is a positive dude, right? And so a lot of what he was also putting this in the context of is just, which I don't want to talk about, even though I do have opinions about it, is just the general arc of Black African American history, right? Okay,
sure.
And so, if you're going to contextualize NWA in that conversation, you're gonna have to get pretty granular, and I don't know if you could do that on a 3-minute podcast interview. Okay,
sure.
Another thing that I noticed in listening to 3 songs of his, 2 songs and a freestyle, in each of those 3 performances, he mentions Tupac. And he's not saying that he's not like rhyming Tupac is not a legend with whatever that might rhyme with in New Orleans Christian rap. So there, so if you're going to if you're going to make a statement like the statement that comes out, then, then if there's some contradiction in your own music, then, you better get ahead of that. The other thing, people who write headlines for podcasts, aside from us, are full of shit. And all of the headlines were way more sensationalistic than what actually took place.
Sure.
Same thing with the Mos Def thing. All the headlines I saw were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't want to go backtrack, but I'm going to. Whatever. You guys are listening, so you stuck here now, and you can't turn it off. Like, don't think you can turn off what we're doing. Anyway. No, to just take a step back to the Mos Def thing. I resent the idea that he wasn't throwing shade at Drake. Like, let's not pretend like there was no shade in this guy. Like, it bothers me that people are acting like, no, he was just saying. Like, come on, man. Music to shop to is shade. Like, there's no way around that.
I have a counter argument.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Just like, if you're going to rap about, and again, this is not Kevin Sakota speaking on the systemic, long-term ill effects of drugs, poor policing, and poverty in the African American community in neighborhoods like South Central Los Angeles and various other communities around this country and around the world. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am going to say is if you're going to rap about drug dealing and gangbanging in women in a way that casts, whether it's a realistic light or a negative light on it, you better do it like Ice Cube.
Right.
If you are going to call somebody a pop rapper, you can't just say that. You have to say his music is compatible with shopping at Target in Houston. Because that is what separates Mos Def from whatever his Christian rap counterpart is.
Look. We like to, and this is a collective we like to take a long statement that has possibly 3 different intricacies within it and funnel it down to one thing. Mos Def diss Drake. D1 dissed NWA. Right? Like, it's like I said, and I don't want to go all the way through it, but like I said last week, the end of Mos Def's statement was powerful. Now, where what happens when this all crumbles down, right? And I'm like, well, like I said, we're living it. This is what happens. But anyway, with D1, I don't agree with a single word that he said in this. Like, not one word. And this is why. Look, man, art is art, man. To cast it and it needs to be positive is the same thing as Glasses Malone saying you can't be a hip hop if you're from the suburbs. Like to say one needs to be positive or one needs to be negative or needs to be from this part or they need to have their tennis shoes on this way or hip hop broke a lot of molds, and a lot of those molds, man, maybe you want to see broken. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the exploitation, maybe it's something I wouldn't want to see, right? But art is art, man. And to become these artistic dictators, right? Beyond gatekeepers, just this sort of Pharisaic thing that often happens in hip hop, where now not only are we gatekeeping the music itself, the sound, what type of snare and kick and pattern one uses, but we're also gatekeeping emotion, failure, ignorance, youth, the stupidity of being in your early 20s and late teens putting out records. Like, this is art. This is art. When you're 47, 50, 55, and you're writing records that are correcting those records that you wrote when you were 18, 19, that's art. Like, the whole experience is not to be, the problem is, and this is not a problem, like, this is a human problem, not a hip hop problem. And probably more of a youth problem, is everything is so literal when it comes to a microphone with a beat behind it. Everything is literal, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm 15, younger than that, but, I want to at least pretend like I have some type of common sense, but I'm 15 and I'm singing a bitch is a bitch. Like, I know what that whole situation, I don't know any of this, you know what I mean? And I get older and I'm thinking, oh man, but from a beat and rhyming perspective, that song was hard as hell. Like, I'm sorry, it was hard. Like, Dope Man was hard. All the records themselves were hard. The content, we can start to shovel around and shuffle and again be very Pharisaic and holy about what people were saying and the effect that it had on some versus others. But I mean, that's such a circular argument. It just, you're going to have one dude stand up and go, I listened to NWA my whole life and now I'm a district attorney. And you're going to have another person stand up and go, man, because I listened to NWA, I ended up doing 25 to life. It's like.
Which would be the dumbest thing anyone has ever heard in their entire life.
Exactly. So you're not going to be able to, and I understand odds and percentages and the sound of the soundtrack to different actions or whatever, like, but yeah, man, I don't know. I couldn't find a single word that came out of his mouth that I found any agreement. Like, nah, I'm talking about he said other things in the interview, I'm sure, but within the context of what we're talking about and what we read on this show, I'm like, nah, you got to just go and let that one roll, bro.
Yeah, like I've seen, the story. I saw the story in a couple different places, and then you put it on the agenda for our TED Talk today. So I dug and I was like, what has this guy done? And because I realized that he's not because he looks very young, right? Mm-hmm. But I realized he's not that young, and he's done a couple projects with the homie Merce. So, who doesn't truck too much nonsense, as a collaborator. I know that for a fact. So I was like, all right, so let's I'm gonna offer a positive note here. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
So the proper response, the proper response he should have given when he was asked the question. Here, you play the part of the interviewer. I'll play the part of Christian rapper D1.
What was the specific question? What did he think about special ed's? Okay, Kev, what did you think about special ed statements about NWA on Drink Champs?
Judge not, lest ye be judged. Next question. Would you like to buy a Bugs Bunny t-shirt?
If I'm asked the same question, I'm probably giving the answer that I gave now with less. Like, I'm just basically saying, look, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you going to go back and blame Blowfly or Iceberg Slim? Are you going back and blaming Clarence Carter? Or like, are you blaming them for starting NWA on the path of destruction?
I mean, you're not
Red Fox. Who else are you going to throw under the bus?
There's so much about the origins of hip hop in various cities, and we can always be very imaginative, right? About like the small areas, the small cities, the small unknown. You know, there's rappers from Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? There's an origin story to their experience. I say this like probably every 12th episode, every 5th episode, honestly. Like, I'm always interested in the origin story of hip hop in people's neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. What's lost on many people about the origin of hip hop in LA was that it wasn't gangster initially. You know what I'm saying? But that's what was happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not as though I think a lot of people think like, okay, LA started rapping and they was like Crips. From day one, I'm like, no, man, like you're not looking at the total origin story of LA hip hop. And
I haven't encountered that.
I mean,
not that I would, but
the cursory. My thing is, I can't. Big shout out to you.
I mean, I know it's true because people started banging in other cities after the fact.
Sure, after the fact, but it wasn't because of records. It was because of dope. But right, like banging in Lil Rock didn't happen because they was like, oh, look at NWA. Banging in Lil Rock happened because people moved dope to Lil Rock, moved their dope sales to Lil Rock, and gangs formed to you know, in that regard. But listen, big shout out to you, big shout out to Fizz, big shout out to Omega, big shout out to Cyber. I can't trust y'all as like I can't hold y'all opinions as the true voice of the consumer that's going to consume these Mos Def articles, these D1 words. You guys have an intimate knowledge and understanding of the music and care about the craft. The average hip hop listener is cursory. You know what I'm saying? Even the unwashed fatigue dudes were cursory. They only listened to their one little thing. You know what I'm saying? They were in, okay, I'm a Wu-Tang fan. I'm into Wu-Tang. Everything that sounds like Wu-Tang. The only dope hip-hop is stuff that sounds in the same vein as Wu-Tang, right? And we'll veer over to Gangstar. And Tribe might be too soft for some of those people, right? But then you have the people who grew up on Tribe, right? And they had the really cool Air Max, and they danced, and they wore a lot of really bright colors. And the only hip-hop they understood was hip-hop that edged on the positive, right? Oh, that's hip-hop. Oh, Common's more hip-hop than, Cam, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but we listen to all of it. You know what I'm saying? So we have a better perspective and understanding of, like, what these records meant. We know we had the privilege and honor of being around some of these artists, being part of some of their movements, making music on our own. We have an intimate understanding of the art, where it comes from, why it's been being produced in certain ways, etc. That's my problem with D1's statement.
Well, and guess
You know
what?
what I'm saying?
You better get used to it, because I think the period that we are going through now, and it's been going on for a while, is watching the history and the legacy, watching the legacy be steered, and watching the history to a certain extent being touched up, edited, rewritten in some cases. But you know, oftentimes altered from the actual fact, right? So, you know, you either have to speak up, but it's also, to your point, if we don't, if you're right and the average listener is a nincompoop, then, you know, how worthwhile is it to try and
They're
fix it?
only, well, it's already over. Look, it's over. And I'm not backing off. It's over. And it was over the minute that we all refused to see the art outside of our own lens. You know what I'm saying? Whether that was West Coast or East Coast, or whether that was only listen to stuff that comes from Project Blow, that's the only good music, or like I said, or Wu-Tang or gangster rap was the only. The very second that we started really compartmentalizing, because that's not the era we grew up in. You know what I mean? We grew up in an era where shoot, man, they went from second to none to Paris, but the devil made me do it at parties that I was listening, that was at, right? So the more compartmentalized this got, the more it was like, okay, you can only listen to rap that has dashikis and smells like naan choppa. Like, it was like, all right, well, we're losing it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I could go on and on and on. My whole thing is to discredit a human being for being a human being, no matter how much you dislike their decision making or opinions, is in music. You know, look, just don't listen to it. But to be like, it's not legendary, when they did accomplish quite a few legendary things. And Ice Cube, out of all of that, Ice Cube, we can talk about Dre, but Ice Cube is a legend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It hurts, it might hurt, but it's still dope. You know what I mean?
That's the key thing, you know, because I find that my attitude toward this type of question has, or my reaction to anyone's answer to this kind of question has changed as I've gotten older and hopefully a little bit more mature. You know what I mean? Just as I would imagine that Cube or Ren or, you know, any Too Short, any of these dudes' attitudes towards the things that they said in their youth as young artists that were considered on the more controversial side. I mean, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I would imagine that their attitudes toward those things has changed as they've had daughters and, you know what I mean? Granddaughters in some cases, you know what I'm saying? And that's just what happens if you're doing it right. If you're lucky and you live long enough to grow up, you know. So, I mean, I definitely have a different outlook on how I felt about like C. Dolores Tucker or Calvin Butts, you know. You know, hopefully for the better, but at the same time, I still disagree. But it is what it is. We disagree on things, you know what I'm saying? And we all have to get better at figuring out how to deal with that. Cause if I don't like something, I want to get rid of it. Usually, you know, if it's one-on-one, maybe we can handle it. But generally speaking, you ain't going to get rid of NWA. And you're definitely not going to do it when I can turn around and hear you know, comparing Tupac to God in every video that you have.
Yeah, there's some lines just individually, like I'm listening to Liquid Swords and I just realized that I forgot that he said, you know, he got, and Something got shot on the set like Brandon Lee. Like, that's a cold line, boy. Like, that's mean, yo. That's absolutely mean.
That's mean.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, look, it's not promoting negativity, but it's a horribly mean line. Like, God, dog. You know what I mean? Or, you know, whole career in trash like Brenda's baby. Like,
Oof.
you know what I mean? Whatever. I mean, that was me. That wasn't Jizzle. But still, it's a mean line. You know what I mean? All right. Check it out. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. By the way, man, big shout out to my man Dave, who I got to bring on the show because he feels like I took a shot at him.
Oh.
In the last episode, he hit me up. So check out Just Give Me 5, which is the name of his show. And I'm going to bring him on to the show to defend himself on the Cat Williams, Bernie Mac comment that I made. Because he was one of the few people that had said something like that.
Wait,
now,
tell us again what did he say?
I was saying I said a
accurate.
friend of mine, which was him, said. But see, I didn't want to shade him by throwing up just dude name, right? So I said a friend of mine was saying that when he got older, when he passes away, he hopes his friends defend him like Cat Williams defended Bernie Mac.
Oh, right.
And I said, yeah, 600 years after you die, yeah, but for a personal gain, you want better friends than that. I'm not backing down off of that statement whatsoever. But I do not mind having my man jump onto the show for 5 or so minutes. Something that we might want to do, you know, probably like 10, 20 minutes. But something we might do this year anyway with a couple of different people that we don't mind talking to. So yes, the shot was shots fired. Not backing down from the heat. And now shots fired with your name attached. All right, cool. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Big shout out to my man Dave. That's my guy, though, yo. Straight up.
Wait, real quick, though. Also, I just read something. Could have been an exaggerated headline, but did Cat record a rap back at somebody?
I don't
Who rapped
know.
at him? Oh, Luda. Luda rapped at him.
Did he? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he kicked a little tiny verse. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to conclude the show. I'm sorry. I hate the fans that are saying you knew these dudes was guilty because they're responding. I cannot get over how stupid you guys are.
Yeah, you said that last week. Yeah, and
it hurts. You guys are so stupid that it has to hurt you to walk. Like, you have to be in pain thinking like, oh, I gotta pay this bill and it's $27 and I have $28. Do I have enough money? That's you. That's you. That's how dumb you guys sound and look. Like, oh, you guys are so dumb. Just cover your kids' ears, please. You guys are fucking idiots, man. Like, God, dude. Oh, just disgusting.
Oh. On this week's episode of Rap Sex Radio, the part of Joe Budden will be played by Trek Life.
Just throw your entire thought processes in the trash. Start over. Ball up whatever your brain when you thumb it out on the internet. Like, throw your brain, ball it up. You know what I mean? And just okay. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. This has been Rap 6 Radio. I am your homeboy Trek Life, and that dude over there, that's your fam Kev Sakota, man.
That's right.
Oh man, catch us at Rap 6 Radio on Threads, at Rap 6 Radio on Instagram, RSR Podcast on Facebook, and go to rap6radio.com if you want to catch any of our past episodes. We are out of here like last year on the count of 3. We say peace. 1, 2, 3. Peace. We out, y'all.